excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid. I'm the whole world is a urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Sorry.
Or vagina fun.
Yeah. I wanted some vagina violence, and we're getting it. Hello, welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm M.
And this is another movie about purity and chastity that goes horribly wrong. In all the right ways. It's
What did you
teeth.
say? Horribly wrong or horribly right?
In all the right ways. God. You know what I wanted out of this movie? Before you read the synopsis?
What?
I wanted her to just know she had the teeth in her vagina and be like a vigilante that was just chopping off dicks left and right.
You mean a vagilante?
Yeah, a vigilante. Yes!
That's great.
I
like that better than the hiccup credit.
I actually can't take credit for that. It was on newbie reviews on YouTube.
That's,
He said it first, and I was like, "Oh God, I have to use that."
that's awesome.
Dawn, Jess Wexler, is an active member of her high school chastity club, but when she meets Toby, Hale Appleman, nature takes its course and the pair answer the call. They suddenly learn she is a living example of the Vagina Dentata myth when the encounter takes a grisly turn.
Answer the call. What?
Nature takes its course and the pair answer the call. Nature's call. A different one. But...
Yes.
Sometimes these synopses, they're a little weird.
Oh, man. So, who directed this?
Mitchell Lichtenstein?
Did a woman write this?
Nope, he wrote it too.
He wrote it too.
And I feel like you can tell that a woman did not write it.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of in the right place here.
Right, yeah.
But he obviously isn't 100% like familiar. But it's not. I'm not criticizing
No,
him.
I feel like he's making an effort here, but he doesn't seem to be able to capture a woman's real experience, you know, like,
Right.
I feel like she doesn't seem particularly traumatized by all the rape and stuff, you know, like, she's just more, like, upset about not being pure anymore and having teeth in her vagina.
Right. At one point, I was kind of like, "What exactly is she upset about? Like, what is she more upset about? Like, what is really, like," because you can tell she's troubled, she's having, like, you know,
Right.
issues, but what is it that is actually the, like, her main issue, you know? 'Cause I can't tell.
I mean, I think her main issue is having the teeth down there. She's just really mostly concerned about that, and I think that's her whole reason that she wanted to do this purity thing, is because she, like, probably had it in the back of her mind from when she was little, knew that she had something like that, and that's what made her go the purity route, because she was afraid of
You
her.
think she subconsciously knew?
Yes.
Or kind of had a clue?
Because remember her stepbrother when she was
Right.
little, that's the first thing that happened there. Like, he tried
Right.
to touch her and she, you know, bit off the end of his fingers when he stuck it in there. So
I
she
think
probably...
that flashback. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I'm
you're
so
good.
sorry. I think that flashback is perfect because it traumatized her and him
Yep.
for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And, like, there's times when he's not really sure, but he knows
something happened there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
he sucks on that finger.
Yeah, like it's
When he's
a
like...
fetish kind of. I don't know.
Yeah.
He won't have regular sex with anybody
No,
now.
just anal.
Just
'cause he's
buzz sex
afraid of
'cause he
vaginas
thinks-
after that.
Yeah. The whole time I'm thinking to myself, does anybody have the fucking internet? Does anybody...
Right?
And then she looked
I
something
know.
up on, what was it, like, internetsearchengine.com or
Yeah.
something.
In this movie, it was, what, 2007?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like the internet was just a brand new thing. I thought that was
Right.
kind of weird.
They have... We're jumping all over. We'll get back to the beginning here. But they have those textbooks, and they have...
Stickers over
That
the
was
vagina.
outrageous. I
Yeah,
was
like you
so
can have
pissed.
a picture of a penis. That's fine, but the teacher couldn't even say vagina. Like,
I joke...
Was it a Christian school or a public
No.
school?
It was
I
a
don't
public
think so.
school.
I think it was just like a normal. I mean, not normal, but
Yeah, not normal. I remember my gym teacher teaching the fucking health class.
Did they have men and women in there at the same time?
Girls, well, the health class, yes. Like in 5th grade when we had the talk or whatever, they divided everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was like junior high health class where they had to go over like reproductive systems and stuff like that. And it was our gym teacher literally in like shorts and tennis shoes teaching this, and he was talking about the ovaries, and he was like, 1 month the right one, one month the left one, and he kept like doing this with his hands, and I'm like,
what the hell?
Oh my goodness.
so fucking weird.
We never learned about the woman's. None of us did.
You never learned about
No,
reproduction
they
in
separated
health,
us.
in health or science?
You know what they told us? Make sure to wear a condom.
Well, at least they were teaching you that instead of just abstinence.
But I was like, and do what?
We were not. We just learned about our periods and stuff.
Yeah.
Not told
I
you.
don't remember them going into much detail in any way.
No.
They didn't really teach
No.
you. And nobody taught me.
No.
Like, you just kind of had to figure it out yourself.
Well, that's where it helps to like have something useful to learn it from.
Right.
Instead of How to Make Love 6 Nights a Week, the book, where someone's like, I got tied up in a cabin and my husband ignored me. It was the best night of my life. Or the plumber came over and my husband wasn't home, so I blew him in the shower, and I'm like 9. And I'm like, what? I came out well adjusted though.
No, you didn't. The neighbor girl that lived next door, she had books, her mom's books that were all very like, about positions and whatnot. And my mom did a good job, I think, of talking to me, but probably not enough.
My mom didn't say anything. My dad got drunk and complained he hadn't had sex in a long time. But neither of them went any further than that. So
That was it?
I remember my mom telling me I should wait till marriage, and that was about it.
Oh, man.
one time, my dad, I came home from school. I was still living there, and you told me how ridiculous this whole entire thing is. But I came in the door, and he's like, hey, can you stand here for a second? I'm like, okay. So I'm standing there, and he goes upstairs.
You were like 23, right?
I was not 23.
You were not? Okay.
No, I was in high school.
You were in high school?
I was in high school.
When this happened?
Yes. He goes upstairs, and I'm like, what's he doing? And just from above me, I hear. And I'm like, oh!
It's your bed. It's your bed making noise.
And he comes downstairs, and he's like, okay? So just remember that. And he walked away.
So he'd be able to hear your bed if it was?
He
Is that what
He
was-
did. They did hear it.
did hear it.
Oh.
And he couldn't figure out how to tell me to stop doing that. So he just literally went up and showed me
my
what it
gosh.
sounds like. Never did that after
Wow.
that. So anyway.
Good talk. Good talk.
Yeah. Teeth. I would think that signing up for a club like this would be asking for ridicule from your
for
fellow
sure,
students.
yeah.
So I
But
think
she didn't seem to mind it really. I think
Right.
she was used to it.
she walks in and everybody's like making fun of her when she's walking in the door and shit, including one of the guys that later makes a bet and sleeps with her. But then we got the nice guy who's a rapist.
Such a nice guy.
God damn it.
The new guy. He's the new guy.
Toby?
Toby, yeah.
I do remember in high school there being like these groups of kids that you knew they were really involved with their
Right.
church and
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So you knew this. That it wasn't like an official school club or anything, but you knew that.
Why would they have a school
was their
club that
deal.
involved your sexuality?
Why? But
Yeah,
that
right.
was her identity. All of her T-shirts were about like saving yourself,
Yeah.
and I mean, this was her identity. Was
The
The-
music she was listening to was about it, everything.
yes,
like,
everything. This was who she was. This was what she clung to.
But this was all brought on by herself. Like, she didn't have, like, parents telling her she should do that or anything. Like, her
Right.
parents weren't into that stuff, but they were supportive of her, that's
Right.
what she was
Yeah,
into.
I mean, she
They
talks
were
to her
proud of
mom at one point, and her mom's like, that's good, I'm glad you get to talk to everybody and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So this is a little
So
bit
I'm glad
different.
it at least
Yeah.
wasn't being pushed on her, like, in pure.
Right,
Right.
this is her choice.
Right.
So, and I'm all for that. That's why I'm not going to criticize this time. Like,
Well, now with what you said before, so do you think that her being involved with that you think that was like...
I think it was because of her teeth down there, because maybe she didn't really remember it consciously, but I think that she subconsciously remembered that there's something off down there, and it made her want to stay away from having sex, because she was like afraid of what would happen.
She's in her bed and she has images of that scorpion thing, which she's like, what's wrong with me? So she knows, but she doesn't know. Yeah. She's confused.
Like, she almost touched herself at one point, but then she was like, she got that vision in her head and she couldn't.
Yeah. I wrote when she was laying in bed and I was like, do it! Do it! I was like writing in all caps.
They also believe that masturbation is bad too.
Yep.
So, yeah. I can't imagine what this would be like for a teenager, though, to, like, be surrounded and be friends with people who want to have sex, and you want to have sex, and you're all, like, it must get to the point where everything makes you think of sex.
Oh, yeah.
Which would be torture. So, but whatever, man. Toby just wants to fuck. And it's
he seems like such a nice guy.
Oh, he seems like it at first. Kind of.
But you know what the movie's called, so you know somehow.
Right. And do you think he was being honest with her when he was telling her, like, he only had sex one time and it was like a year ago and he really regrets it?
No.
And I don't think so either.
He just knew what to
say.
Well, I don't think it was completely lying, because if he really wanted to impress her, he would have said, yeah, he's a virgin, he's never done it before. So I feel like he kind of split the difference and maybe kind of told half the truth and half not.
Maybe.
I think he might have been worried that she might have found out from somebody, so he's like, I gotta at least say something.
Yeah, so she doesn't find out and think he really lied.
Why does he think he's still pure in God's eyes? Or whatever.
Because he's a man.
Maybe ask for forgiveness or something.
Because he's a man. That's why, because he's a man.
Or did he do something besides actual sex, vaginal sex?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Because that's the whole thing now. You can get around the whole virginity thing by having anal sex.
Which movie is it that they say there's no back door?
This one?
Yeah.
I laughed
think that's
about
exactly what it means. Like, there's no way around it, and also putting it in the butt isn't gonna... No, it's still sex.
Right.
So...
Right. Yeah, if they think God doesn't want them to have vagina sex, do they really think he wants them to have anal sex?
Right, exactly. There's a Garfunkel and Oates song.
And since I'm not a godless whore, he'll have to come in the back door. Therefore, fuck me in the ass, because I love Jesus.
I've always thought that, like, I can't believe that human beings would think that there's a mystical being out in space who could create all of this, and all he wants to do is make sure you don't masturbate.
Right? It's so weird.
Well, and why make the human body the way he did? Yeah. Why is there pleasure during sex? Why do we experience that in order to procreate?
Maybe that's all from the devil, trying to tempt us.
Why is the sewage treatment plant next to the playground?
I wonder. I mean, it's such a mystery. I couldn't figure that out. Mm-hmm. They showed it like 60 times.
Oh, you mean in the movie? I was making a joke.
Oh, I thought you were talking about that power plant, like nuclear power plant, which is why she probably had vagina
it's radiation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it's like they're implying that it's a mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she looks up mutation a couple of times.
That's gotta be 3 Mile Island.
Maybe?
I lived by there. It's because there's nothing. There's maybe one other one in New York, maybe Long Island. There aren't a ton of those nuclear power plants like that around.
But I mean, that wouldn't be a bad adaptation if it really only happens when it's not consensual.
Yes,
that would be a great adaptation.
Yeah. They make something. They're working on something that's supposed to like have spikes on it that women put in them.
They have it in other
countries where rape is like out of control.
And
I think they should just make that for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
So she goes to the cave where people have sex with Toby.
Yeah.
They're working their way towards having sex, but also being like, don't have sex, don't have sex, don't have sex. And then they get in there, and he's one-track mind. Mm-hmm. So he puts his hand over her mouth and basically almost knocks her out. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, now's a good time to have sex.
I mean, she's saying no, but he's like...
Yeah, she even says, I am saying no.
Yeah.
And he's like,
he doesn't care.
Shut up.
He's just gonna rape her.
All right. Bye-bye, penis.
And what did he say? I haven't jerked off since Easter.
Yeah.
And he even tells
I
her,
don't give a shit.
"You're still,
Yeah, really.
you're still pure in his
that was
eyes,
so
or
creepy.
something."
He's like, "Oh, it's okay. You're still pure. Don't worry." Like, oh my gosh, it was so sick.
It's fine. He dies. It's all good.
Oh yeah, I was glad he died. But then she's like feeling guilty, like she murdered him, and it's like, goodness, girl, you didn't do anything.
She's
When
more, I think, and it's better this way. She's more worried about what's happening to me. And she's like, "Oh no, he's dead. What's going on with me?" Like, I like
she's
that.
concerned about both of those things,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, she did seem to be concerned about killing people. Like, could she want, like, somebody said Toby's gonna be there, and she's like, "Oh, have you heard from him?" Like, she was like excited, thinking that he might be alive.
Right.
That she didn't actually murder him, even though she didn't.
See,
that's not it.
I both like and dislike what happens after that, where she goes from that to being like a vigilante. Because that is the movie I wanted, but it doesn't fit her character at all.
No.
Unless, like, because her mom's dead and now everyone in the freaking town is trying to rape her. Like,
Yeah.
she's just had a fuck enough. That could be why she's
I feel like
flips.
it kind of developed from there. Like, I feel like she's initially raped, right? She initially finds out there's something going on.
Then we get the gynecologist.
Researching it, everything with the gynecologist, and, like... And then finally just being like, okay, well, I guess I'll enjoy this. But then, like, I feel like it's a development. I don't feel like it's like one day she's like, I'm a virgin until I get married, and then the next day she's like, I'm just gonna chop off all the dicks I see.
No.
I suppose it's a pretty good.
It's
maybe
a progression.
If the movie had
It
been.
is.
All right, fine. You're both like, it is.
No, I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think?
I think if it would have been a little longer, it would have been a little more time to add a little bit more to the progression. I don't.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just it's lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It works. You are right. You're both right. It works.
I mean, it does progress, but yet, I don't know. I don't think that this is another one that like had a lot more potential than it ended up living.
I want teeth too, and I want it to be called what you called it, pun that you made.
Vigilante?
Yeah. Teeth 2 Vigilante. I want that movie.
I would have rather had them have like a woman write this movie, because I just feel like he didn't do a good job of like the female perspective of like what it would feel like to have. I mean, every single sexual experience she was having was forced on her,
Right?
You know, and she didn't seem traumatized by that.
She got a
really.
shower
I mean,
and just went on to look up something on the internet. Like it was nothing.
like she was only worried about the vagina teeth and killing people accidentally, and like I guess she cared a little bit about not being pure anymore, but I feel like that really wasn't her concern from the beginning, though. She was really more just afraid of her vagina teeth.
And the gynecologist scene was completely...
That was terrible.
Completely unrealistic, completely...
I would certainly hope there's no gynecologist out there. If there was, like, there's no way he'd be able to be practicing for very long, because people would be telling.
And that scene was on when I got here today and you were watching it, and I was like, okay, it's fine up to, like, this point.
Takes
like,
his gloves
okay.
off.
That is disgusting. He, like, tries to fist her. Like, this poor girl.
And, like, from then on, it's like, no, this is...
Yeah.
But my question is this because the gynecologist is, like, a bad person, or is it because the person who wrote the movie didn't know how a gynecologist would act?
I mean, I hope he doesn't think that's how gynecologists act.
Yeah, I know, but is that...
I feel like he...
Sorry.
I mean, there's no way he thinks that, like, every man is a rapist, because that's how it seems in the movie, you know?
I think he needed... okay, so she's a level-headed person, for the most part, right?
Yeah.
So I think whoever wrote it thought, okay, she's going to look online for information. The next step would be going to a doctor. She needs to have another traumatizing event at the doctor to continue this progression. Yeah. And just kind of came up with that. Even though that's not how it would happen at all.
Would she be able to just walk out the door, put her clothes on, and go home after the doctor is laying on the floor with his fingers bit off?
Right, because, I mean, they would probably...
ran out with her gown on. So
I thought she was on her bike with her clothes on going home.
But she ran out of the doctor's office. She still had the gown on. She grabbed her clothes and ran out of the doctor's office.
Okay.
So, like, all the nurses and everybody would be like...
But, I mean, he never said to anyone what really happened, because, like, when he was getting surgery, like, they were like, are you sure you don't want to tell us what happened? And
he did not.
He didn't tell.
when he assaults her in the guise of an examination. Well, there's your answer. Yeah, he was doing it on purpose. Okay, so she's leaving and sees a bunch of cops.
And she thinks they're after her.
Right,
but
right.
No.
They're digging Toby's body out of the lake. So now we know
Yeah.
he's dead. And when she
And
gets,
that's when she feels guilty.
and she goes home and her mom's laying on the floor, passed out, while fucking what's his name's right in the other room, fucking just awful.
And the girl, like, I think she had heard something going on with the mom, and he just told her, "Oh, she does that all the time. She's always screaming. Like, don't worry
Right.
about it."
Yeah.
What a great
Awful.
guy.
You said he's one of the worst characters you've ever...
He's awful.
He
He's
was terrible.
just awful.
And then she goes over to
Ryan's
house.
Ryan asked her on a date, and Brad punched him in the chest.
That was kind of funny, actually.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
that was where the black eye was from.
I thought he hit him here because he went and fell over.
I think he
Oh,
must
where'd
have
you
hit
get
him
the
in the
black
eye.
eye?
I don't
think
know where the
that's
black
right.
eye came from, unless
Are
I
you sure?
missed
I thought
it.
it was from Brad punching him.
That's what I thought, too.
Oh my god, I'm glad you guys are here. I would be describing a movie that didn't exist half the time. I just thought he acted weird when he got hit, and that's why I thought he got hit in the chest. But okay, that makes sense. So, he gives her a sedative. That's what it says he gives her.
Well, first she tells him about her problem.
He's not listening.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he listens enough to know that, like, she needs a hero to, like, conquer her vagina.
Oh my god. And do you know that the like this whole legend is in like every culture.
Yeah.
like South America, North America, different tribes,
Yeah.
Hinduism, like it's everywhere
Right.
that be afraid of a woman's vagina. That's the first message. And then the second message is that you need to conquer that said
Yeah.
vagina. Like like they're all the same.
When are you guys
Obviously
gonna
made
fucking
up by
kick our
men.
asses and take over? Change this shit. I'm waiting.
We gotta get Lilith in here.
Mm, true.
I don't know. I just don't understand, like, to me, the message is that men are afraid of women.
Well,
Yeah,
too bad
so
that doesn't keep the rapists.
that makes
from-
sense because that would be why they want to control them, so that they don't do anything they can't predict.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so much more a fan of people who just sit on the couch all day and watch sports and never try to do anything. They're much less harmful.
Also, how did she, if she has the teeth and everything, like, how did she, like, use tampons or, like, manage her period? Or
Maybe she
does
didn't.
she
Maybe
get a
she uses
period?
like a pad and never. Because I mean, I feel like she probably doesn't want to stick anything up there. You know.
You know, and some, like, girls that are like that, like, they won't use tampons because they don't want it
Yeah.
to be inserting something in there.
Right,
'Cause
yeah.
it's like a...
It could also be that like she's not panicking, and she does have sort of control over it. So when she puts a tampon in, it's just like fine.
Because when she's with Ryan, it's fine. It's normal.
Because
She's-
it's consensual.
So the teeth only come out when...
Protecting her
Yeah.
Okay.
until she figures out how to use them later.
Although, even though that was technically consensual, she was
passed out when he started.
Yeah, I mean, he
And-
gave her a pill and then he gave her alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, that was not really true consent.
Right.
But she even stopped and said, "Whoa, no, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm being your hero." And she's like, "All right,
Okay.
fine."
I mean, she was too tired and out of it to really
Yeah.
protest.
He would have been fine if he hadn't answered his phone while they were having sex.
Yeah.
That alone is bad enough, but like...
I mean, she was like fine with having had sex with him the first time, like, and she wanted to do it again there. Then
Also a
so.
sign it was written by a man.
I know, exactly. Because if that happened to any girl, like, you'd be like, you drugged me.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah, and not like the next morning be all like, oh,
Like, oh, okay. Yeah.
What are you guys looking at me for? I
Just
believe
to hear
you.
your response
Uh,
to it.
No, this guy's a shithead. I'm glad his dick gets paid
Yeah.
off. And I'm glad the doctors make fun of him later.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't remember what it was they said.
Well, the doctors fixed
hardly
the...
seems worth it.
Yeah,
that
and they
was
all
it.
laugh at him. I think the doctor too, when after he gets his fingers bit off, he just starts chanting, "It's real, it's real."
Vagina Dentata,
Yeah.
Vagina Dentata.
It's so funny.
That's funny.
Also, I watched other reviews of this movie. Like, I just went on YouTube and just like watched a few of them. Nobody can pronounce Vagina Dentata. Like, all of the men that were doing reviews of this movie were like, "She's got vagina dentist teeth."
Vaginal dentist teeth.
I don't even know. The one guy was
It's
like,
not even hard to pronounce.
it was actually really funny. He was like, what did he say? So if she has a problem down there, does she go to a gynecologist or a dentist?
Oh my god. So she goes to the hospital. Her mom's dead, right? That's what I'm assuming is going on.
Yeah, her mom died.
Yeah. The stepdad is
Oh, the hermit from Twin Peaks.
that keeps
Oh.
Laura's diary safe.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that with him. Oh, wow.
Immediately I saw it. I'm like, ah!
Well, I knew him.
Harold.
I couldn't remember exactly where, and I looked up his page, and I'm like, oh, that's right.
Awesome.
I need to rewatch Twin Peaks. I haven't seen it in years.
We're in the middle of rewatching it now.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have to watch the movie, the Fire Walk with Me. Is that what it's called? Fire Walk with Me. The movie 1st, then start the first season series, and then because you'll see
yeah, and
so
I never saw
much.
like the more recent one. I haven't seen it, so but
The
I
third season.
yeah.
It's
I mean, I know
interesting.
it's not like
It's
new, but-
different and
Very different.
amazing.
Yeah. But if you know the whole story, and then you go back and you watch the prequel movie first, and then you start, and you'll be like, oh.
Plus
and,
it becomes-
start to
Makes more
connect
sense.
all
It
of
becomes
that.
more emotionally like taxing when
Yes,
some of this stuff
because
happens.
you get to know Laura in the first one.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just start the series off cold and they're like, oh, Laura Palmer, but you don't know anything about
Right.
her.
Yeah, when they're like crying at the beginning of episode 1. I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, what's their problem? Calm down.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because
then
you
this
didn't know this character.
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah, and
so-
then this time I was like, oh god. That's
Yeah, there it's really
sad.
depressing. Okay, so when she's at the hospital and her mom is dead, her stepdad is there, and her brother's boyfriend is there. Brad's girlfriend. That's right. Brad's girlfriend is there, and she's like, I heard her making noises, and he said don't do anything. He says it happens all the time, and that's when she's like, all right, fuck this guy. Because he
Yeah.
said earlier he thought that she was saving herself
for
for
him.
him.
Uh,
So gross.
yeah.
And he's had a crush on her since they were 3, it seems
Yeah,
like.
he was mad at his dad for marrying her mom because he was in love with her from the time that they met.
When
you know?
he was like 5 and she
Yeah.
was like 3, like,
That's
oh,
so weird.
so gross.
I think that him getting his finger bit did something to him mentally.
Yeah,
I
that,
think
like-
it fucked him up real
yeah,
bad.
oh, definitely.
She decides she's gonna have sex with him for the sole purpose of chopping his dick
Yep.
off.
That's when it all changes.
Mhm.
She takes her power.
I love it. I want more of this, but
Right.
he's got this dog, and he's sick.
What's the dog's name?
Mother, because he doesn't have a mom, and he's a piece of shit. And,
Because he just likes to tell Mother what to do.
oh, is that it?
Boss him around, boss him, her, him, whatever, around.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So earlier the dog attacked the dad too, but this time she chops his dick off with her vagina and lays it on the floor, and the dog comes in, chews
It
on
fell
it.
out.
It
Yeah.
fell out. Yeah, it just bloop.
That was one of the, because every
It's so
time,
funny.
every time she was with somebody, I'm like, does she spit it out? Or
Yeah, I
does it
think they
just
just
fall
fall
out?
out.
Or like, does she have control over that? So when that happened, I was like, oh yeah, that's more realistic.
The dog chews on it, but even the dog is like, lays down and takes a nap.
And it's fierce. I love that it's
Yeah. And then she just leaves and gets in a car with the creepiest old man
Oh my gosh, he
I've
was
ever
creepy.
seen.
With
No,
his
okay.
tongue stuff he was doing.
Ugh, and the sounds just gross.
He didn't even
Thing is-
speak. He
No.
just
So the thing is that whenever she's riding her bike out of town or whatever, and then like her bike breaks or whatever, and she just stands up and puts her thumb out to hitchhike, and I'm like, yeah, she doesn't have to be afraid.
right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't have to be afraid of being picked up by some creep because she has
Secret weapons.
Yeah.
her weapon.
Yep.
And I like that. You know what I mean? That she's like,
Right, yeah.
I don't have to be afraid of men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be empowering. You guys should start cutting dicks off.
Also, the moral of the story is that if you say to a guy, if you have sex with me, you might die, that most of them will shrug and go,
Yeah, she says that to Ryan like 3 times. Like, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna die. And he's like,
no, I'm the hero.
fuck off. I think 90% of guys want to die fucking. That's just what I think. So, alright, that's the end of this movie.
Is it the end?
Yeah.
I love the look on her face at the end. Like, if you look at her at the beginning,
Right.
compared, like, just her face,
Mm-hmm.
like, compared to the look she gives at the end of the movie, and you're just like, totally different person.
Definitely.
Good.
Yep.
Hope she tears shit up. Anyway, this is your movie, so.
You never clap.
I don't know.
A few unrealistic obviously unrealistic, but a few plot issues,
Right.
you know, like we've talked about, like, and which would probably be solved by a woman being in charge. Overall, I liked it. There were a lot of funny parts. There was the one part whenever she came into the house, I can't remember when, and her mom was like, do you want dinner? And she was like, I ate. Because the dick.
Yeah.
They were very subtle,
Right.
comedic, that I really liked. Overall, I would say that I would recommend this movie, so I'm gonna give it 7.
Alright, it was good. Good-ish. It wasn't really the movie I wanted, I guess. I was happy that she was empowered at the end, but I wanted more of that. I think the pacing was a little bad, and that led to a very short period of, like, revenge. That's the problem, is they paced it poorly. They didn't develop the family enough, I think. Like, I wasn't sure what to think of the stepdad at all. No idea. I just kind of felt bad for him.
The stepdad wasn't bad. He was like the only non-terrible male character in the movie,
Right.
Because even the teacher is a piece of shit that's teaching. He's like, we didn't even go over that. That sticker on the cover, like, there's people in the class that are like, why is there a dick in this book and no vagina?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think I need to answer that. And I can't remember, one of the women answered, and she said something really smart-ass that was awesome, and something about, I can't
And then
remember.
the main girl, she said something about, like, women have a natural modesty, that's why.
Oh,
That's what it was.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, so...
A lot of people, the reviews that I saw, a lot of them compared this to I Spit on Your Grave. Would you compare that?
It's better than that, but there's
There's a lot of rape in that, that's probably why.
Okay.
this
I
one,
never saw it, so.
Okay, so I think this is important to say. I Spit on Your Grave may be a movie made by a woman, directed by a woman, written by a woman, and be empowering, but they spend entirely too much time on the rape. Way too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they're trying to make it sexual. And it gets even worse when they do the remake. Like,
Okay.
the original, okay, if a woman made it and a woman wrote it and these people are all working for this purpose, who am I to say? They know what's best. But a man made the second one and sexualized the shit out of the rape victim in that one.
Okay.
There was nothing sexy happening in this movie at any point,
No,
at any
not
time.
at all.
So I like that.
Definitely.
They did not sexualize the rape.
Well, okay, actually a little bit on the semi-consensual scene, but not
Right.
really, where
With
he
Ryan.
drugged her.
Yeah.
Because they kind of made that like it was a positive experience for her.
Yeah, I feel like she was drugged. It seemed like she was still capable of making conscious decisions, but not. I don't like that. I don't like cloudy. I don't
Yeah.
like that at all. Like
to me, that can't be true consent when you're
right,
like,
if you have
drugged.
any drugs or alcohol in you, it's not consent. And it was
Yeah.
almost like they were trying to say,
It's okay.
it is
Yeah.
okay, because
Right.
she's there. She's...
She's not saying no.
Right.
Right. We didn't need that extra oomph. She could have been half unconscious and heard him dialing the phone and then did that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway.
And then making him out to be, like, cute because he's really trying to pleasure her. You know what I mean?
Oh, because he has that little thing that he
The vibrator.
uses.
Finger vibrator thing.
No, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad he got his dick cut off. I love that.
What an idiot, like, answering the phone like that. I mean, like,
Yes.
he probably could have continued to keep having sex with her
Yes.
for a while,
Yeah.
but he ruined it.
Who answers the phone during sex? Who does that? It's in 80s movies all the time. And they're just like ringing.
Yeah.
And she's like, the woman is always like, no, don't. And the guy's like, I gotta take this. No, you don't. Anyway, I gave it a 5. I recommend it too, but it's not one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I think I really like the concept of it, and I think they could have done it a lot better. I wish there would have been a woman at least involved in some way in the writing and everything. Like, I think that would have been very helpful. It could have been a much better movie. I would have rated it probably a lot higher otherwise, but I'm also going to give it a 5. I thought it was entertaining, and I definitely like her transformation and everything, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen it done a little better.
It's lacking something.
It really is.
It's not lacking as much as the last one. But
No, but I feel like having a woman there to give her perspective would have given a more authentic version of what would have really happened, what her real experience would have been, and how she would have reacted to all these terrible situations she was put into.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It also depends on what kind of movie you want to make, because I felt like this was kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit. It had some things in it that were serious, but more leaning towards the tongue-in-cheek. And I feel like if a woman did make it, it would lean more serious, and it should. I don't know, like...
Because, I mean, rape's pretty serious.
I told you, I can't watch movies with rape very often, because it just makes me really uncomfortable that somebody decided this needs to be in the movie.
They wanted it to be a comedy, which A Vagina with Teeth is comedic.
Yes.
But for the story to play out, rape has to be involved.
It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So how do you that would be hard.
But it also kind of made it look like every guy you meet is going to be a rapist, you know?
Not as bad as Lifetime, but up there, yeah.
Because, I mean, every single guy that she had anything with, it was all terrible stuff happening to her over and over again.
I think teenage boys will do anything to have sex, and it's not good.
Yeah.
So...
I hope they're not all that bad, though. I don't think so.
I don't like men. I am one. It's a tough life to live.
At least you're not one of those kind of men.
If you want to get a hold of us, facebook.com/justanotherhorrorpodcast. We are, you can email the show at justahorrorpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Either one of you, I don't care.
Instagram is just a horror pod.
Twitter is just horror pod.
That's all of them. Subscribe.
Or we gonna sue your balls to the wall.
Cowards.
Like, comment. Woohoo!
Call them cowards. Come on, don't make me be the only one that does it.
We each have different approaches.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yeah, I'm like, fuck the fans. And you're like, what fans?
Throw me.